Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite camp with a limp, and we're back with a little more of Brief Border Wars. We're going to jump right back into where we left off. Make sure you watch the first video and all the other good crap so you understand where we are at. Now, we moved a few units in the previous turn, but now we're going to do some special stuff that we didn't do in the first one. So if you notice, I've got some air units here in my rear area where they started off, but the enemy also has a whole stack of air units as well. And they actually outnumber. The Hondurans have more of an air force than the Salvadorians do. So I'm going to play one of my stack of special action cards because we left off, remember, we're going back and forth, boom, boom, boom. And it was the Salvadorians' turn. So their next action is going to be using one of their very rare special action cards, and they're going to use it to conduct a raid on the rear area of the Hondurans. And I'm going to be doing that by moving my rear area aircraft to their rear area, and I'm conducting a raid on their airfield. Now, this doesn't cause a air-to-air fight like would normally happen if they were having an air-to-air thing going on out here, because they're effectively like catching them on the ground, okay? So what I get to do with this is when you conduct a raid, and again, that's one of the special rules for this specific scenario. So the others might not have raids like this, but you can either attack the airfield or the MSR, the main service route, for bringing in supplies. So if you attack the MSR, you would be placing hit markers, and it would actually reduce the amount of cards that your opponent would get to draw on the following turn, because they have the hit markers that they have to account for. And this, though, we're trying to cause their airfield to flip to damaged. And if it does, it would cause all aircraft in their rear area to be moved to the damage box. So effectively, I could wipe out their air force in one go if I succeed here. So the way a raid's going to work is you're going to add up the combat factor. And the combat factor, again, is the number. So we see here I've got 3 aircraft, 2, 2, and 1, so that gives me 5. So that is 5 dice that I get to roll, and I need at least 2 hits for this to be successful. So I need 2 of these dice to come up 5 or 6. Would have liked a little bit more, but it's a decent chance. And if I get those 2 hits, then I will have succeeded in my raid. But you'll notice both sides have this little thing that says 2d6, and that has to do when you're conducting a raid, fail or succeed on it, they get to roll just 2d6, and whatever is rolled on those 2d6 will damage these aircraft or cause them to become disrupted. So let's go ahead and roll real quick and see if I succeed in this raid. Oh, come on. And yes, we're going to give it to them because this one was cocked just a little bit, but we pushed it flat and we did get a 5 and a 6. So just barely enough to succeed at our raid. We got 2 hits, which is enough. So we're going to flip this airfield to now damaged. And now all of their aircraft in the rear area get put into the damage box. Now they're going to have to be repaired during the final phase, again, rolling 5s and 6s to see if they come back into the fight itself. And if they had aircraft that were actually out in the field during the final phase, your aircraft come back to your rear area. The airfield being damaged would also cause them to become disrupted. All right, so we have to do their return fire, their 2d6. And I read it again just to make sure, and it says it damages. So I'm guessing that means they're going to be shot down, because damage and disrupted are 2 different things. Disrupted is flipped over, damaged is to the damage box. And it says specifically that they will be damaged. So let's roll a couple of 2d6 for them and see if they damage any of those aircraft in that raid. And they did not. They missed. So those aircraft will stay. That was actually a real good run for the Salvadorians that wiped out their aircraft, because what I was going to do for the Hondurans is if this raid failed, I was going to have them conduct an air raid on their rear area to try and cause hits, to try to cause the damage, so they would have less cards on the next round. We're not going to be able to see that on this one, but we'll see if we'll do that on the next round when these aircraft come back, because it's going to be a little while before they have aircraft they get to use again. All right, so that was their turn. Very, very successful turn, but now you see why you want to hold on to these, because it can be a big swing. The special action, I like that. It kind of gives you a one-off of, I'm going to do something big. And I think for this map, this game specifically, those raids are going to be big because of just the big swings they can cause. The amount of planes that you can put in damage boxes, or the amount of cards that you can cause. Because for every hit that you have in that rear area, that's cards that you have to discard in the next round that you might not have. And that can really, really hurt you. Same thing though, you'll see it when we go into our finalized section of the game. You're rolling and you're looking for 5s and 6s. I like how it's nice and simple. 5 and 6 for everything. For something to come out of the damage box, for something to heal back from disrupted, for a hit marker to go away. Whatever it is, you're looking for a 5 or 6. Real easy to grasp it, but complex because you got to decide, are you going to use those special action cards to bring your units back out? Are you going to use those special action cards to conduct your own raids? What are you going to do with them? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to hold on to the rest of our special actions for now. We're going to just finish out the round, because I could play a special action to bring these aircraft back out of the damage box, but that would be so bad because they just had played a special action to bring their infantry out. And I don't want to get into this habit of going back and forth. Well, you put them in there, I'll put them back, and so forth. I want to see how many get repaired when we get into the final phase, and then we'll make a call on the next one, see if they have enough to conduct an air raid back onto Salvadorian or El Salvador to get them slowed down. So it is their turn. They've only got 1 card left to play. And let's see, they don't have a whole lot of options. This card is not that good with only 2 movement. It's good with combat. I could activate up to 6 units in combat, but I don't even have 6 units in combat. I could do a one-off here and here, but the bad part is they would end up being at a disadvantage, because if we did a combat here one-on-one, it would be 2 dice against 2 dice plus 1. So they would actually have the advantage. White would have the advantage. They would be getting that defender bonus. So we need to have more units. So we got to move a couple of guys up. Let's just play this for its movement factor, and we'll grab a couple more infantry units that we will bring down here. Hopefully we can get some better cards in the next round to try to move these guys in. But at least there's a big force here to push back against this big force, because that is a high value area with 2 victory points. All right, so we're going to go back onto this side. They've got 2 cards left to play. Both of them are weak in combat, though. I wanted to kick off some combat, but same thing. Doing a one-off just isn't going to do very much good. So I think we're going to use it to move and get as many points as possible, or get in control as many points as possible. So I can't move these units out. They've got like an area control thing. You can't move out of an area where there's an enemy unit that is undisrupted. So I can move units in, but I can't be moving units out. Let's see how we go do this. If I play this card for its movement factor, we can bring a lot of guys in here. That's 4 units, so that's 2 stacks of 2. So there's 6 units here. Got a big numerical advantage. Can move 1 more. Bring this guy. Which way is the quickest? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Or no. 1, 2. Yeah, that gets me right there. So yeah. We'll go there. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to play this one. Last card of the round for 4 movement. And let's see where we're going to go with this. We're going to do these 2. Get them up there, get a big numerical advantage going. That's only 1 victory point. You get the victory points at the end of the game too, right? So you're not counting these up as we go. We're going to keep track of our game turns, and at the end is when that's really going to come into play. All right, so that's 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, we'll finish off with that. So we've got 1 reinforcement going there, a couple more reinforcements going in here. A lot of units. They're all pushing real hard. Big push down here. I think we're going to take these really easily because it's going to take them a while to get units over there. They're gonna, yeah, that pole unit there's got to move over to try to help out to hold some of these, because there's plenty of white guys to hold here, move up here, keep a nice chain of supply going the entire route. Okay, so now we're in the final phase. I'm gonna go ahead and move the game turn counter so I don't forget to do that. And this is where you're going to roll for recovery for any of your guys. If they are out of supply, they do not get to roll for recovery. That's one of the big reasons why you got to stick to these roads when you're conducting your attacks, because if they get damaged, they can't repair it. And our aircraft get moved always back to the rear area. So we'll bring these guys back. And then you also are rolling to see if your units get repaired, if the hit markers get repaired. So our airfield damage marker automatically gets flipped back. The rest of them do have to be rolled for, and it seems like the only units that are being rolled for on this round are going to be the aircraft for the Hondurans. Everyone else is still full power. So we got 5 units here, 4 fighters and a bomber. So let's do it this way. We'll roll these 5 dice. This one can represent the bomber, and these other 4 will represent the fighters. Let's see if they recover or not. Well, not too bad. Decent rolls. 2 fighters come back. That's not horribly good. Not horribly good. Okay, so we'll bring a couple of their fighters back into their rear area to be used, and they can assist with some combat later on. And yeah, they're all 2, so it really doesn't matter. And yes, these are C-47s that have been rigged up as bombers. So cargo airplanes they're throwing grenades out of or something like that. All right, we're ready to kick on into the next round. All right, so we're ready to go. We just have to draw our cards. And don't forget, we still have the rest of our special action cards. They don't come back. You get your 6 and that's it. And they can do more than just the raids. They do have other aspects like bringing in extra units if you're defending in combat or calling in air support. So it's not just the module game specific rules for your special action cards. There are the generic things that you can play your special action cards for as well. So let's draw our 6 for this round. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it looks like it's pretty close to even. Top 3 are white, bottom 3 are gray. Well, that is nice and even. That will keep things easy. And I don't remember how to do it if they are even. Let me look at the rules real quick. All right, so if it is even like this, then it's going to be the designated player. That's the El Salvadorians for this one. So these are the cards they have. These are the cards they have. Let's take a little look. And they got a lot of combat and not a whole lot of movement. That seems to be the same thing going on each side. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. How are we going to do this? All right, so I've got aircraft that I can bring in. I can move. I can get some combat going. All right, we know we want to play this one for combat. So, ooh. He would be getting plus 2d6. So each one of these defensive icons adds a d6 to the defender. So you've got mountains and forests, so that's 1d6 for each one. That effectively gives him an extra unit in the area. We've got to take him out though. Down here, it's not as bad. It's just trees, so it's just 1 extra d6 for the enemy. We got to start pushing. So let's play this one. We're going to play this one for its 5. I'm trying to think, because this is I'm playing against myself. I'm trying to make, obviously the best decisions I can. Like, should I bring in aircraft? Should I do a special action first? Should I try to do this and that? But no, let's go ahead and do this. All right, let's do some combat. We need to do some combat. This is going to be the combat that we're going to have. All 4 units are attacking. They are selecting just the 1 unit as the defender because that's it that can be there. So that's going to give us 8 as our combat factor. So white gets 8 dice that they're rolling. They're looking for 5s and 6s, and blue is getting 3 dice. 2 for their unit and 4, excuse me. This was the one that has 2 defensive terrains. So they are getting 4. So it's basically 2-to-1 thanks to the defensive terrain. So you see how defensive terrain comes in handy. All right, so let's get 8 dice. There's 4. We'll grab 4 more. We'll do our hits for white first. Now this is handled simultaneously though. So let's roll, see what 5s and 6s they get. Ooh, they got a lot. Yeah, he's obliterated. He is sent to the damage box. We'll keep track of it separately just to do it. But he's a goner. Yeah. 4 hits. There's no way he survives that. They do have some options though. So if you get 1 hit, at least 1 hit as the defender, but not, what is it, how they word this, not equal to, it's an undisrupted defending unit that receives at least 1 hit, but less than its combat value of hits is potentially disrupted. That's right. So if you receive 1 hit, but at least below your combat value, which would be below it since this is a 2, you have the option to retreat and stay undisrupted or stay where you're at and become disrupted. So it does give you some options. But then if you get equal to, then it's forcing you to retreat and take damage. He's going to the damage box. He has no choice. All right, so let's roll for them attacking back. 2 for him and 2 for the defensive terrain. And they got 2. They did decent. This is actually, I mean, spot the hell on. They each did 50% worth of damage. And it is the attacker that gets to, or the person who's rolling the dice that gets to determine where they go. All right, so like I said, the 1 hit up to, but not its combat value, has to take and either retreat or be disrupted. If it's equal to its combat value or but not greater than its combat value, then it is automatically disrupted, and I think it's may retreat. Is it may retreat? But less than, must be disrupted and may retreat. That's right. And if it is at least twice its combat value, it is damaged. So it will go into the damaged box. So he's basically wiped out. That takes care of all of our hits here, but they had 2 hits coming back and they get to determine what to do with them. The attackers are a little different on how they take hits. So when it comes to the attackers, if they receive at least 1 hit, but not up to their combat value, then they are disrupted. They don't get the option to retreat. And if they do receive up to their combat value, they are damaged. Obviously, it would behoove them to damage off one of the units and send it back rather than just disrupting 2, because they would have the potential to undisrupt at the end of the round. So we'll kill off one of theirs and send it back there. So the combat went relatively good. We lost a unit, but we took out their unit, and we are in a victory point hex, so we have control of that. We can move a couple here and then move up in that direction with some more of these guys. Try to get it to where we've got a nice chain going so they're all in supply. Remember, you have to have someone in the area to have control of it. All right, so now let's do Honduras. I keep messing that up. I know some people are probably chuckling at me. I think I got to do some movement first because we got to try to push them back out of this area, push white back with blue, because they'll crush in the next round. But I can either move 4 guys into this area and just sacrifice this one and try to fully guard this one, or I could move a couple up and try to move some aircraft in so they could help defend, because if I move my fighters in, they would each be adding 1d6 to the combat unless white were to move in some fighters or use a special action card to bring in fighters when they're doing that thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, the game it's kind of like beer and pretzels heavy is kind of the way to think about it. It's not overly complex, but there are nice strategic decisions to concern yourself with, especially with use of the special action cards. because there's so many options of things that you can do with them, like bringing back your units or making different types of attacks. So is it better to bolster your own forces or weaken their forces? You know, a lot of things that you got to decide. Is it better to bring in aircraft defensively to help you in an attack, or, you know, do whatever? I love how those cards work in this. All right, we're going to use this one. We're going to move our units up, and we will move all 4 of these because I got 4 movement, and we're going to try to maintain control of this higher victory point hex area. Yeah, that I think will be a better bet for us. And yeah, probably going to be using the rest of these cards for movement too, because they really have to get some units over here to see if they can get something going on. All right, so it's back to us. Or back to white, rather. I'm not really, like, in my mind, I'm on the left side, but it's not really that big of a deal. I think we'll go ahead and go big and take control of this area as well. Do a full-on attack, try to wipe them out. And yeah, we'll go that route. We'll go big. Play our combat 6 card here. And we've got 6 units. They've got 1 unit. But they do have 1 defensive terrain tree, so they have 3 dice to our 12 dice. I don't even know if I have 12 dice. Let's see. I think we'll just take and roll 6 twice and see what we get. All right, so first roll is they've already crushed him. I don't even need to keep rolling. At this point, they've got enough to wipe him out. Actually, no, they need at least double his combat value. So let's roll 6 one more time. All they need is 1 6 or 1 5 or 6, and they got it. And there it is. So bam, there it is. They got their 4 hits. All they need to fully wipe that defender, come clean off the board into the damage box. All right, so the defender does get his attacks, 2 for his combat value, 1 for the defensive terrain. Let's see what he gets. Oh, and they're coming out swinging. Look at that. Each time they've lucked out and gotten 2 hits. Damn, not bad. Not bad. Hondurans are going down swinging. All right, so this one, bam. He is going into the damage box, but they took one of the white guys into the damage box as well. And see, part of the problem is white's got this big swing going on, right? But if too many of their units get knocked back, yeah, they can come out of that damage box. But if they come out, they're back in the rear area. It's going to take them a little while. You see, I've been moving these units along, and cards that you're playing for movement aren't cards that you're playing for attacks. So you got to think about which way you're going with it. All right, so what else are we doing? It's back to Hondurans. I think we're going to play some movement. Get some stuff going there. We're going to move this guy up 1, see if we can get him here so he can help hold that terrain. And we'll bring this one up as well. So there's 5 units guarding against 5 units. Now this is going to get stuck in down here. We've got 1 more card left, but no combat can be played. I can use 2 movement. No need to move any aircraft. I don't want to move. See, I need a big movement card because if I move these guys up, then they've got 10 dice they could throw at a couple of my guys, or they could pick 1 or 2 to fight and do a lot of damage. But the defensive terrain will work. Oh, it's thoughts. But okay, let's move 2. We'll bring these 2. Oh, and I'm bumping my back. We'll bring these 2 up. There we go. They're one area away from being able to push in, so we got forces coming back. They've got this, and they're probably going to use it for movement. Again, I'm not moving the aircraft because we're close to the end of the round, so there's no need. They'll go right back to the rear area at the end of the round. So they get 2 more movement. All right, we're going to move 1, this guy here. So we're holding this, at least so it's not undefended, because I know white's going to push up here and try to gain control of this. Blue can try to hold these, and then it's going to be a fight here. So I got 1 more movement left. Where do we want to go? Let's send this guy here. That way, one more move, he could go here. That way, at least these have something in them, and they're not just open and free to be attacked. And then they can put the rest of their forces into fighting off and trying to hold down here. See, here's the thing. I just eyeballed the points again just to remind myself. And a 4 to 5, so these black circles here, if it's 4 to 5 points, that's just a draw, right? I need like 6, 7 points to have a white victory. And right now they've only got 2 points. So even if they take this one, well, no, let's not look at that one yet. They've got 2. If they got up there, that'd be 3, 4, 5. So just getting the easy low-hanging fruit here is only a draw. I have to take one of these, and I think it's going to be this one's going to be the push for the win. Because these are too far in the center. It's hard for me to get there. It's hard for them to get there. I have to be out of supply unless I send units down in this direction. Because the supply works the same way as it does with combat, right? So card's only worth half. So if you wanted to move a unit out here that was out of supply, you would have to play 2 movement points to move 1 unit. Becomes extremely hard to do that out here. So yeah, if I take the low-hanging fruit out here and get these points and this one across the border, that only gives me 5 points. I have to take this area for a confirmed win. All right, well, let's finish out the final phase real quick. We'll go ahead and bump this up so we remember. And we don't have any disrupted units on the board that we have to account for. We just have damaged units in our boxes that we need to see if they're coming back. Let's do our 2 for the Salvadorians, see if they're getting any of those units back. And they're getting 1. That's not bad. That's not bad. 50% rate. Bam. And I don't get this little 0 recon airplane. I don't get what it's going to do. I really just don't. Okay, and we've got 3 aircraft and 2 infantry. Let's do our 2 infantry real quick, see if any of them are coming back for the Hondurans. No. Bad roll. 2 fighter planes. Are they coming back? Yes, both of them are coming back. And is the 1 bomber coming back? No. That's not too bad. They got back their fighter wing. And now their air force is stronger. So, and they could still, remember, you can still play a special action card to get all those, but they got about half their forces back out. And now they have their air force back. And they could conduct a raid here on the next round to do either hits against their rear area and reduce their card draw for the next couple of turns. That would actually slow them down. That would be great for the Hondurans because the Salvadorians not having cards would prevent them from being able to push forward, and they could push forward and kind of piecemeal into them, weaken their front lines because they're the ones. White are the ones that are on a time limit. They've got to take the points. All the Hondurans have to do is outlast them. So yeah, doing a raid here I think is going to be a good bet for them. So what they would want is to have more gray cards drawn on the next round, which statistically is in their favor, so they could pop off first with a big air raid and see if they take them out. All right, we're going to have to see how that plays out, though. We've already done a couple of rounds. You guys stay tuned. And I'll tell you what, I'm liking this game. I'm going to play it the whole friggin' way through because I want to see what happens. We should be able to get it in a couple more videos. We'll do turns 3, 4, maybe 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7 for a final video. See how it plans out. Anyway, you guys take care. I'll see you in the next one.